Good evening. On behalf of the entire Valar Atomics team, we are so grateful and blessed to have you all here tonight. Some of you have been here along this journey with us from the very beginning, and some of you are here for your first Valar moment. We are incredibly proud to have you guys see the fruit of our very hard labor. And, we can't wait to show you just the scale of what's to come for a really brighter future. And I'd love to tell you about our mission and our just incredible vision for bringing energy on a scale of the entire planet. But before that, I really want to introduce the man who started it all, our fearless leader, who just 15 months ago was just a guy in Idaho with a plan to reindustrialize the planet. I want to introduce to you Isaiah Taylor, the CEO and founder of Valar Atomics.
Ladies and gentlemen, the footage that you just saw was history being made. We've developed an incredibly sophisticated machine. Ward Zero is a one-to-one non-nuclear prototype that is, I believe, the most sophisticated non-nuclear prototype that's ever been developed. But what's incredible about it is that we developed it in only about 10 months. In fact, all of the Valar Atomics engineers that are here today that built this thing were hired after April 1st of last year. In the last 10 months ago, all of this was just a name. It was the name Ward Zero, named after my great-grandfather, Ward Scott, who moved with his young family to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to work on the Manhattan Project. Led by Enrico Fermi, the Manhattan Project team built the world's first nuclear reactor in only 8 months. It was a very similar concept. It was moderated by graphite. It was fueled by uranium carbide. And the Chicago Pile 1 really inspired the safest and the simplest nuclear reactor architecture we've yet discovered, the HTGR. And the Valar Atomics team follows in their footsteps. The goal of Valar Atomics is to make the world's energy by building nuclear power at planetary scale. In order to do that, we're going to have to build thousands of nuclear reactors. These nuclear reactors are going to do incredible things. They're going to power AI with data centers. They're going to reindustrialize economies with advanced manufacturing and metals. And most importantly, they're going to make the world's fuels. Our reactors, by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen and taking the hydrogen and bonding it with CO2, can actually make the world's jet fuel and diesel and gasoline at a lower price than oil and gas and completely carbon neutral. The road ahead of us is very long. Our ambitions are very large. We're going to have to make thousands of nuclear reactors. But it doesn't start with thousands. It doesn't start with the perfect plan for the perfect factory, for the perfect device that doesn't exist yet. Instead, it starts with building just one. And so I'm so excited to present to you Ward Zero. Welcome to Ward Zero. I swear I had this memorized like half an hour ago. Whatever, we're just gonna do it like this. I am so incredibly proud of the Valar Atomics team right now, I can hardly describe it. This is genuinely the most sophisticated thermal prototype that's ever been developed. Over here in our main reactor module, this stands strong at about 100,000 pounds of steel, graphite, and Inconel. It has about 300 sensors in it that allow us to properly characterize the entire performance of the system before we actually put uranium in it for the first time. Our heat transport system over here can transport high temperature helium at over 600 psi throughout the system. And our electrically simulated silicon carbide core will actually pull about 8 city blocks worth of power at full bore to perfectly mimic a full uranium fuel load inside of the core. And it'll heat our nuclear grade graphite blocks to about 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. But what's most incredible is that we did this with a team of only 28 engineers. We did this with a team of 28 engineers and only 4 non-engineers, by the way. Our ops staff is unbelievably heroic. They're incredible. So many of you are wondering, how is this possible? How do we do something in 10 months that should take 4 years for $12 million that should have taken $100 million? Well, the shortest answer is incredibly hard work and blood and sweat and tears of the smartest team that I've ever had the chance to work with in my entire life. That's the short answer. But there's a little bit more to it as well. So we have 4 principles that I lead this company by. The first one, I do have to look at it actually. Yes. The first principle is that metal beats paper. Metal beats paper. So none of the great engineering projects from the last 200 years have been perfectly designed on paper and then executed perfectly the first time. That's not how the Manhattan Project happened. It's not how the Apollo landing happened. It's not even how the iPhone was built. Instead, these things were done iteratively, rapidly, with quick hardware prototypes where you learn as fast as you can. And that's how we have to build things in nuclear as well. We also believe that 1 year of building things in the real world is better than 10 years of simulating and studying. And we also don't fall to the fallacy that says that hardware is really expensive and you can't spend precious dollars, venture dollars on hardware. You have to spend a long time designing and getting it right. Yes, Inconel is really expensive, but time is much, much more expensive. And so our second principle is attack the critical path. This is something that my team hears me say at least a couple times a day. The Valar Atomics team attacks the critical path ferociously with all resources available to us. We generally have job titles. I'm the CEO, Mark Mitchell's our Chief Nuclear Officer, Willem is our Head of Mechanical Engineering. But in those few crucial moments where the critical path becomes clear and the entire timeline is hanging by a single thread, the person closest to the thread who understands it the most is responsible to tackle it with full steam. That means if I'm the guy standing next to the U-Haul at 2 a.m. with a chunk of metal that needs to be driven to Bakersfield because there's a vendor that told us that he's going to go on vacation and that it's going to push our whole timeline back by 6 weeks and he has a 6-hour window in which he could do it, I'm the guy getting in the U-Haul, or the intern is the guy getting in the U-Haul, and we get it done. Another example of this, the guy who is in the hard hat, the black hard hat with the white Valar logo on it, in the video loading graphite into the reactor, that guy has a master's degree in thermodynamics, and he has a PhD in nuclear engineering. Most of his time is spent running thousands of calculations on hundreds of EC2 clusters and arguing with me about Monte Carlo simulations or transient analysis or parametric optimization of the thousands of variables that we have to get right to build a nuclear reactor. But that night, graphite needed to be loaded, and it was 3 a.m., and the rest of the team had crashed in the conference room to get some sleep, and so he suited up and he got it done. At Valar Atomics, everyone stacks the graphite. Third, we don't sign MOUs, we split atoms. At Valar Atomics, you're not going to hear us talking about our giant order book or how we have $10 billion worth of customers lined up. Because here's the big secret of the nuclear industry. There is an infinite order book for anybody who can actually build it right. There's never been a shortage of demand for energy, and there never will be. Humanity needs as much energy as it can get. The thing that there's a shortage of is companies that are competent and capable to actually build nuclear reactors cheaper and better and faster than they did last year and the year before that. That's what there's a shortage of. That's what we hear us talk about. That's what we'll focus on. That's what we'll do. Finally, and most importantly, at Valar Atomics, we believe that small, competent teams can get more done than big teams. So a lot of people, when they tour through here in the last couple of months, have been really surprised at how much we've gotten done in a really short period of time. But even more surprising is when they walk upstairs to the bullpen and they see how few seats, are up there. There are 32 team members on the Valar Atomics team, and every single one is a total killer. Here's how this works. It's basically a two-stroke engine. We hire the best people in the world, and we give them extraordinary latitude and authority to get the money that they need, the resources they need, assemble the team that they need to get the job done in front of them at all times. And then we hold them responsible for the result. What this means is that only the talented survive. But it also means that the most talented people in the world have the most fun here. Because what talented people really want is they want exposure to reality. They want to learn. They want to do better than they did yesterday. And they're going to find that here more than anywhere else. Now, this entire scheme only works if you have the best people in the world. And I'm so grateful that we do. And so please put your hands together for the most talented team in nuclear, Valar Atomics.
One more round of applause for the greatest team on earth. So we have Joe and Ishan, who have definitely laid a lot of graphite cutting today. And we want to remind you, this is one of several thousand on the way.
All right, you guys can go. Okay, so Valar Atomics, this is our first prototype. This is Ward Zero. Obviously, this is a very beautiful machine. It's a great looking piece of hardware. You are welcome to take and post as many photos and videos as you'd like. But we want to go one step further. We'd actually like to show you the reactor itself and allow you to come back here behind the curtain and experience it for yourself. And we'd love to start with existing Valar Atomics investors. We have some amazing investors. Steve Marcus at Ride Ventures is here tonight. Abe Murray from AliCorp, and I believe we have some folks from Initialize as well. So if the current Valar Atomics investors, anyone who's invested, can meet me at the red carpet over here, I'm going to take you on a tour of the reactor. And if everyone else wants to line up as soon as we're through, you can come back as well. We're so excited for you guys to experience Ward Zero for the first time. Thank you.